I always find it interesting when Hollywood celebrities leave Hollywood and how much better they say their lives are for getting out of there. It really highlights something that I think a lot of people have noticed about people who live in that bubble. And that's exactly what Katy Perry talks about when she reveals that she's been living in Kentucky for a few months now, or at least a month. We'll go over the things that she said. I just find it interesting. Like, look at Dave Chappelle. He lives somewhere in Ohio. Chris Hemsworth moved to Australia. A lot of these people get out of Hollywood and they talk about how happy they are, how they are feeling normal again, almost like it's some kind of cultish behavior. And they got out and now they feel like real people again. So Hollywood is not America. Katy Perry talks ditching Hollywood or LA bubble for Kentucky. Specifically, though, Hollywood, because that's where she was living. Katy Perry is so happy she ditched Hollywood for Kentucky, especially while raising a family. Imagine that. You wouldn't want to live in Hollywood while raising a family? What? You don't say. The 37-year-old, and she looks good for 37. She looks really good. Not in this picture so much, but like in the thumbnail that I showed you. I think in the thumbnail she's like 35 or 36 because she's married to Orlando Bloom. But, you know, she still looks really good. The 37-year-old singer discussed her thoughts on making a drastic change during a recent episode of Chelsea Handler's podcast, Dear Chelsea. I'm like living in Kentucky, and I have been for almost a month now, and that's quite an amazing experience because it reminds you that Hollywood is not America, Perry said, according to Fox News. She went on to discuss how living in other parts of the country, especially more rural areas, helps celebrities relate to the common folk. You need to remember that, Perry said, because I think you can understand people better. Yeah, right. It's like to get outside of what you know to be normal in your reality, Handler said. Yeah, I mean, they're like living in a bubble of sorts. We're living in a bubble. Our bubbles are completely opposite, but they are. It's interesting, the pop star said. She cuts herself off there, but she's absolutely right. Look at a lot of these people, these celebrities in Hollywood and how they lecture people, tell people what's right and wrong. And a lot of the times it is very opposite to what regular people think, but they don't understand that. And I've talked about this before. This is why that layer of PR that used to exist between a celebrity and a person are gone now. Now you have them like just throwing out what they think now. And a lot of the times they come off just radically crazy. The only people they really identify with are other pompous LA people. And it does not represent the country, but they think that it does. They think in their mind, they're right, you're wrong. And what she talks about here is like going back and living amongst regular people. You know, she sees, oh, maybe this isn't the way that I should be thinking. Maybe I should relate to people that are actually living a normal life again. And it's just, she sounds a little bit more sane now. And it's interesting to see this perspective of someone getting out of Hollywood and now realizing I kind of see why people see us as jackasses now. Even though she doesn't really say it like that. That's the way that I'm kind of thumbing through this, but goes on to say, Handler mentioned how Perry had also grown up in a bubble since she was raised in a strict religious family. You've been in different bubbles because you grew up in a bubble, the podcast host said. You grew up super religious, yeah, and that's one bubble. Then you came into the industry, and that's another bubble, right? She says, it's an anthropology study of humans, Perry replied. It's interesting. So that comment got brought up by Chelsea Handler. Notice how she's trying to trash religious families, more so strict religious families, but still. And Katy Perry kind of deflects it. Just says it's an anthropology study of humans, like she's lived in different experiences. But it's like, did you really need to go? It's almost like the Hollywood ladies, like, we've got to make sure we trash regular people real quick. The Dark Horse singer also talked about how motherhood has changed her, referencing daughter Daisy Dove, who she welcomed with husband Orlando Bloom in 2020. Perry called motherhood the best decision she's ever made in her entire life. She also shared how her and Bloom are in couples therapy, and we don't really need to get into that too much. I just think it's an interesting read because of the fact that she sounds a lot happier living amongst regular people. She sounds a lot happier getting out of that bubble, that disgusting cesspool that is Hollywood. You have crazy people like Jamie Lee Curtis. If you remember when she saw that broken down, this is real. She saw a broken down post office truck, and it was on a tow truck, and she thought Orange Man bad supporters were stealing it. This is an insane area, and she got away from the insane people, and she seems a lot happier, like living the life of a normal human now, raising a family. Sounds happy raising that family. Sounds happy getting away from the crazy people. Now, I wonder if she'll still well, she's a singer, so she can record at home. You know, she probably has like a really super expensive advanced studio built into that home. And if it wasn't there, she had it built. But let's be honest, they got the money. They probably built a home from scratch. I mean, why wouldn't you if you have the money? If you have the money, that's what just about anybody would do, is build the home that they want. But it's just, I always find these interesting. And it's some of the people that sound normal, like Chris Hemsworth. If you listen to him, he sounds like he's like a well-adjusted person. It's because he lives in Australia and he's not in a Hollywood. And I think the same applies here. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think. Also, if you would, please like, subscribe, share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit that notification bell. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace. Also, if you want to help support the channel, check out my Teespring store. There's a link in the description. You can find some merchandise in there that you might want to check out. Also, make sure to follow me over on Twitch. I do watch parties, play video games over there. They're always fun. Follow me over there and come hang out. Also, make sure you subscribe to YellowFlash, my other channel. There's a link to that in the description as well. I do a lot of live streams over there that I don't do on this channel. Usually smaller and a little bit more personal. So make sure you follow me over there and sign up.